I noticed that suction lines are insulated. Is it a good idea to insulate the liquid line as well? What are the pros and cons of insulating the liquid line?
Hello there. I'm Norman, but you can call me Norm. Let's see what I can do to get you some answers today. I'm ready to get started whenever you are. On a standard split system, you do not want to insulate the liquid lines, only the suction line, as it needs to stay cool. With the liquid line being warmer than the ambient temperature, it is rejecting heat to the air. That is a good thing. If the liquid line is insulated, the insulation slows down the heat rejection, which would not be good. I will be standing by should you have further questions. The suction line is insulated for two reasons. 1. To keep water from condensing on the line and ruining your walls and ceilings, and secondly, to keep the gas cool. Ratings lower than 3 are negative. Remember to return if you have more questions before rating. I'm very glad I could help you. If you ever need help in the future, please bookmark my personal link and visit me again. I'd be glad to help. http://www.justanswer.com/home-improvement/expert. It's Norm/.
The liquid line should be warmer than the ambient air temperature. The unit should produce a certain amount of subcooling. Doesn't insulating the liquid line help ensure that the subcooling remains there until it gets to the evaporator coil?
Let me explain. Is this an R22 system?
Yes, R22.
Okay. Starting at the compressor. The compressor takes the low pressure, low temp gas from the evaporator and compresses it to high temp, high press gas. The condenser and outdoor fan then condense the gas to liquid state. Let's say Goodman wants 10 degrees subcooling. If the pressure at the liquid service valve is 200 psig, the condensing temp of the R22 is 102 degrees. To get 10 degrees subcooling, we would want the liquid line temp to be 92 degrees. This is to ensure that there is liquid R22 in the line at the metering device at the evaporator. If not, you end up with a frozen evaporator. With an uninsulated liquid line, you may have 94 degrees at the metering device. Big deal, it's still liquid. It takes much more heat, BTUs, to change the liquid to gas than it does to add a degree to the liquid. R22 boils at -41 degrees. When the R22 hits the metering device, the liquid goes through a metering device and flashes into gas. This is where the cooling effect comes from. We need this now saturated vapor to pick up heat from the air in the home to make sure the R22 returning to the compressor is all gas and has no liquid. Liquid will kill your compressor. Also, if you are looking for 10 degrees superheat, your suction pressure is about 70 psig and the suction line temp is 52 degrees. At 70 psig, the R22 will condense into liquid at 42 degrees. 52 to 42 equals 10 degrees superheat. This assures there is no liquid returning to the compressor and it's cool enough to keep the compressor motor cool. Even the manufacturer recommends against insulating the liquid line on a unitary HVAC split system. It's honestly not that you can't do it, it just doesn't have to be done. The system is designed to operate without doing so. Now many split manufacturers mostly recommend the liquid line be insulated as well. Even when you buy the line set kits, they come with insulation installed on both. So you are aware, Some of this information is from an article on HVAC system installation and was very well described, in detail, a good way to help you understand the process.
Sorry for the delay. You mentioned that mini split systems have liquid line insulated. How many ton systems do you mean by mini split system? In other words, how many ton system or less should have liquid line insulated?
When I refer to mini splits, I'm talking ductless installations with an outdoor condenser and a wall-hung indoor unit. Ductless split systems is what some call them. This is because mini splits are designed to operate at lower outside ambient temperatures, and sometimes run 24/7 in certain applications. If you have an extremely long line set or operate in 0-degree temperatures, you may want to reconsider the liquid line insulation. Since the velocity on the liquid line is generally high, the sensible loss of subcooled liquid may be negligible. Something to keep in mind, if you did have an extremely long line set or you are operating the AC in low ambient conditions, you would not just insulate the liquid line. You would also have a start assist, crankcase heater and a liquid line solenoid valve. Ratings lower than 3 are negative. Remember to return if you have more questions before rating. I'm very glad I could help you. If you ever need help in the future, please bookmark my personal link and visit me again. I'd be glad to help. http://www.justanswer.com/home-improvement/expert. It's Norm/. I'm sorry, I meant to say if you log back in and feel that your questions have been answered. Typo.
Thanks for your patience. I had to step away. The liquid line in this system had been buried earlier. It showed signs of weakness when I removed it from the dirt. It looked tarnished green. I was just thinking about insulating this part and a few feet extra to keep it away from rain and keep that part of the line strong. I replaced the suction line and don't want to have to replace the liquid line. For this situation, I removed the liquid line from the dirt and that part looks tarnished green and a bit weak when I bend it slightly, no kink or leak right now. I just want to protect the liquid line a little by insulating that portion and a few extra feet from rain so it doesn't form holes. For this situation, do you think it's okay to insulate the liquid line for about 6 to 8 feet? I wrote the same thing twice here accidentally. I think you see the final portion of my question I asked in the previous post. Once I'm clear on this, I will be sure to click on accept. I appreciate your patience.
You will be fine just insulating that few feet. It won't hurt the system, I just don't see the need to insulate the entire length.
If you have a home improvement or appliance question and want to chat with an expert now, visit JustAnswer.com/YTHI.